It started as a joke. "Hey, janitor," one of the interns called out, grinning as he pointed toward the grand cello on the side of the ballroom stage. "Why don't you give us a performance?" Everyone laughed. The man they were teasing was Eli Monroe, quiet, gray-eyed, and always sweeping up after hours. He was the single dad who worked night shifts to provide for his little daughter, Maddie. What no one knew was that Eli hadn't always held a mop. Once, he'd held a bow. But that was another life. The room was filled with polished shoes and expensive perfume. Guests gathered at the headquarters of Hawthorne Tech for a charity gala. There were billionaires, influencers, CEOs, and one janitor quietly wiping spilled champagne off the marble floor. Eli hesitated. The cello gleamed under the soft chandelier light, unattended after the hired performer canceled last minute. Laughter rose again, and someone whispered, "Come on, it'll be funny." Eli looked toward the corner of the room where Maddie sat quietly with her sketchpad. She was the reason he'd taken the night shift, the reason he hadn't played in years. The reason he kept going. Without a word, he walked up the stage. At first, the room tensed with anticipation, waiting for the comedy of it. Some even pulled out their phones to record. A janitor playing a cello. This would be viral gold. But then Eli sat down. He adjusted the endpin, cradled the cello between his knees, and closed his eyes. When the bow touched the strings, something shifted. It wasn't just sound that came out, it was sorrow, longing, and something deeper than either. His fingers moved with a grace that couldn't be faked. Each note told a story. Of love lost, of nights he stayed up with Maddie when she was sick, of dreams shelved for diapers, of a man once destined for concert halls now mopping corridors to keep his family afloat. The music was heartbreak. The music was hope. And then, the room fell utterly silent. Wine glasses paused in midair. Conversations died out. Even the servers stopped in their tracks. In the corner of the room, a man wiped his eyes. Richard Hawthorne, the billionaire founder of Hawthorne Tech, stood there frozen, glass in hand, staring at Eli as if he'd seen a ghost. Because he had. Years ago, Richard's only son, Thomas, had died in a car crash on the way to a conservatory audition. The piece Eli was playing now, Bach's Suite No. 1 in G major, was the very same Thomas had practiced endlessly, echoing through the mansion halls that now stood too quiet. As Eli played the final note, letting it linger like a goodbye he hadn't been able to say, the crowd erupted, not with laughter, but stunned, genuine applause. Richard approached the stage, trembling. "Where did you learn to play like that?" he asked. Eli rose slowly. "Juilliard. Long time ago. Life got in the way." "You played like my son," Richard whispered. "Exactly like him. Same passion. Same pain." Eli offered a soft smile. "Sometimes, pain is all that's left to play with." Richard looked at the little girl drawing quietly in the corner. "Is that your daughter?" Eli nodded. "Maddie. She's my everything." That night, things changed. Richard didn't offer a handout, he offered an opportunity. A job, in music therapy development, combining art and healing, an initiative his late son had dreamed of. A full scholarship for Maddie. A cello gifted to Eli, engraved with the words, "Let the world hear you again." And it wasn't out of pity, it was out of respect. Eli went home that night, not just with a job offer, but with something deeper restored, dignity. Purpose. The music within him awakened again. As he tucked Maddie into bed, she whispered, "Daddy, everyone clapped for you." He smiled. "Not everyone, sweetheart, just the ones who listened." Sometimes, the greatest performances come from those least expected. And sometimes, all it takes is one note of truth to open a heart that's been closed for years.